obviously didn't get the second. He's going to give it a shot. Here's the throw from Saunders, and he is safe. It's a cycle for Brandon Barnes.
Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's Game 2 of this three-game weekend series between the Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby to see which team can outslug the other tonight, or it might be a pitcher's duel, but last night was a slugfest.
Well, the Astros have had their struggles scoring of late, but last night, and yet they have been tuning it up a little bit lately. Last night, they come up with 7 runs, 16 hits on the night. A huge night offensively when it's all said and done. Obviously, the pitching didn't get the job done to be able to pick up the W, but Jason Castro drove one off the wall early. Brandon Barnes got his night started, a cycle night with 5 hits. Started with a home run early. Jake Elmore had a pair of hits, as did Justin Maxwell. And then it comes back to Brandon Barnes, who had 5 hits on the night. Jose Altuve, also one of the guys with multiple hits on his night. So it was a solid night offensively. But when you see Brandon Barnes do what he did last night, and that was the double that clinched the cycle for him on his evening, really nice to see. The center fielder is a guy that could certainly help this club offensively, and things have been tuning up.
Well, in fact, the last 11 games, the runs per game have gone up quite a bit to 4.4 on the average. And the on-base average and slugging percentage looking a little bit more robust. So the Astros would love to continue that trend and step it up yet another notch. And they have hit well in the season series against Seattle. They're a .303 batting average team against Seattle for the games that they have played against the Mariners this season. Now, coming up next from Minute Maid Park, it's Erik Bedard's spot in the rotation. Bud Norris led the way last night out of the break. And Jordan Lyles, Dallas Keuchel to follow, along with Jared Cosart. We'll have more on Missile Command in just a moment.
As the Astros and Mariners are about to start Game 2 of this weekend series. Now, the Astros feel like they really wasted a good offensive performance last night. Obviously, Brandon Barnes, the offensive hero of the game, even though the Astros lost the game, he hit for the cycle, went 5 for 5. The Astros scored 7 runs here at home, out-hit the Mariners 16-11. The problem was the pitching. They couldn't keep the red-hot Mariners in the ballpark, and that has been an ongoing problem for about the last 19 games, and here are the statistics that bear that out. From the middle of May to the middle of June, the ERA was solid, the walk-to-strikeout ratio is very good, and of course the team record was 2 games over 500. In the 19 games since that stretch, you see the ERA is back well over 5. The walk-to-strikeout ratio not so good, record not so good. So last night it was Bud Norris who had some problem keeping the Mariners in the ballpark. Tonight, Erik Bedard will try his hand against his former team. Now, when Bedard has been good, his walk-to-strikeout ratio has been good. He hasn't had many guys on base. He's been pitching from the windup for the most part. His problems have come recently when he hasn't had that good command. And he walks a lot of guys, he gets on base, now he's pitching out of the stretch, and things seem to snowball on him. I talked to his catcher, Jason Castro, and Jason said the thing about Erik Bedard is he has swing and miss stuff. He's a strikeout pitcher, and that's because he has good late movement on his pitches when he's getting a lot of swinging strikeouts. When he doesn't have that late movement, guys are taking a lot of those pitches, the walks go up, and as I said, things start to snowball him. So Bedard, trying to win for the 4th time this season tonight, hopes to come out with good command and set a good tone early in this game. And the Astros certainly hoping he can do that because they've had problems in the bullpen as well. Let's face it, Hector Ambrose last night got rocked, as well as Josh Fields. So that's the story tonight. It's all about the pitching. Coming up next, Brandon Barnes was the man last night, hitting for the cycle. Big play, Brandon, hitting in the 7-hole tonight behind Justin Maxwell, hoping to pick up right where he left off. Astros and Mariners coming up next.
Net is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. Well, we've had a few more raindrops in the Houston area. Let's go inside where it's nice and cool and comfortable for Game 2 of the Astros and Mariners series. Second game of a 6-game homestand. The Oakland A's will be in Monday through Wednesday. And check the starting lineup for Eric Wedge's visiting Seattle Mariners. They won 4 in a row. They lead off with shortstop Brad Miller. At second baseman Nick Franklin batting second. Raul Ibanez is in the 3 spot in left field. Then it's DH Kendrys Morales, third baseman Kyle Seager, first baseman Justin Smoke, right fielder Jason Bay, catcher Mike Zunino, and center fielder Michael Saunders. The pitcher is Hisashi Iwakuma.
On the mound for the Astros tonight, 34-year-old left-hander Erik Bedard, 3-6 on the year, 4.61 the ERA. His last 3 starts have left him 0-3 in that span, struggling with command, walking 13 over those 3 starts.
First pitch is good for strike 1. That was a fastball and went up at 87 miles per hour. Bedard has had first inning problems this year. And last night was quite a night for Brad Miller. He hit his first 2 major league homers. He's driven in 12 with a .273 average. He grounds one to first, and there's Brett Wallace with that play for out number 1.
Defensively for Houston tonight, as you see Brett Wallace will start from behind the plate, Jason Castro, and then work around the infield right to left. Brett Wallace, Jose Altuve, Jake Elmore, and Matt Dominguez in the outfield. Brandon Barnes, he of the cycle last night in 5 hits. He's flanked by Justin Maxwell in right and Chris Carter in left.
Switch hitting rookie second sacker Nick Franklin comes up next. He and Miller have been a revelation up the middle for Eric Wedge's club. Bedard throws, and there's strike 1 to Franklin. Franklin checks in at .270 with 6 long balls. He's driven in 19. He had 2 hits in last night's game. Franklin's gone 6 for 12 against Houston pitching since he came up from the minors. Bedard missing there, goes to a 1-ball 1-strike count. Erik Bedard's first inning ERA this season is 11.02. Had one terrible first inning that shoots it up, and in the first 3 a 5.59 ERA in all of his starts combined, and there have been 17 of those. He's allowed 7 first inning runs in his last 4 starts. So a scoreless first would really perhaps propel him to a fine start tonight. This Seattle club has really been swinging hot bats lately. And the former Mariner gets a foul ball for a 1-ball 2-strike count. Bedard was not healthy during his time with Seattle. He pitched some good games, but just was not able to stay in their rotation because of health issues. And for that reason, he did not pile up a lot of wins in a Mariners uniform.
When you think of powerful hitting clubs in the American League, I don't think of Seattle in that top grouping of teams, but they are second, trailing only Baltimore, tied with Toronto in terms of home runs on the season. So they've turned into a very different looking club.
There's Kendrys Morales, their cleanup man. Well, they have hit homers in a club record 23 consecutive games. They hit 4 last night. That's the longest streak since '06 in the majors with home runs. And a swing and a miss. Franklin's down on strikes. So Erik Bedard is off to a good start.
Talking about the Mariners and what they do offensively, you can see early on in the season they had their struggles. 12 games under 500 up through June, and now in July they're 9-5, and pretty good reason why. The batting average is way up. Runs per game come right with it, over 6 runs a game now, and that slugging percentage with the home runs we talk about has gone sky high.
Raul Ibanez has done a lot of that slugging himself. There's ball. There is strike 1. Home plate umpire Bill Miller rings it up. Ibanez at .266 had 24 homers, 56 runs batted in. He's in the top 5 in home runs in the American League at age 41. He's on his way and certainly on a pace to be the most prolific 40-year-old home run hitter in one season in the majors. 1-ball 1-strike on Raul, who was drafted by Seattle in '92. He's from Manhattan, New York. This is his 3rd different stint with the Seattle Ball Club. It's a 2-ball 1-strike count. Last night Raul had 1 hit. Seattle banged out 11 hits in a 10-7 win over Houston. Ibanez is 1 for 9 in his career against Erik Bedard. And he's late on that one. It's a 2-ball 2-strike count.
Got a fastball in a good hitting zone, but simply couldn't catch up with it.
90-mile-per-hour offering. There it is. Bedard won 15 games in his 3.5 years with the Mariners. This is his 2nd start against his old team with the Astros. Swing and a miss, and he has a 1-2-3 first with 2 punch outs along the way. And now the Astros with Carlos Pena leading it off, to be followed by Jose Altuve, and Jason Castro will be up in a moment. Lineup card begins with, for the third time, the leadoff man, Carlos Pena. He's DHing. Jose Altuve's at second base. Jason Castro's the catcher with Chris Carter, the cleanup man, in left field tonight. Fred Wallace plays first base with Justin Maxwell in right field. And Mr. Cycle, Brandon Barnes, of 5-hit fame last night, is in center with Matt Dominguez at third base and Jake Elmore, the shortstop.
And they'll take their swings against veteran right-hander Hisashi Iwakuma, 32 years of age. He's 8-4 on a fine season that has had some struggles of late. 3.02 the ERA. Iwakuma won his last time out, that against the Angels, but prior to that had gone 5 consecutive starts without a loss, or without a win rather, and 0-3 in that span.
Now, since June 10th, 1-3 with a 6.25 ERA for his last 6 starts. Carlos Pena leading it off. Why is he leading off? Well, Bo Porter was asked that question. It's the third time he's done so for the Astros. Bo was thinking about it for a while before he decided to go in that direction. .212 batting average doesn't speak to a whole lot for a leadoff man. He has a .325 on base average, and that is actually among the better on base averages for the Astros this year. But Bo mentioned pitches per plate appearance. Carlos leads the club in that department, and that's part of the job that many see a leadoff man has, and make that pitcher work, see what he's got early, so the other players can perhaps learn from that. The Astros really don't have too many players who work the count. Carlos is one of them. Certainly he has been the best so far. And he's 3-0 now. And this against a right-hander who has walked only 19 in 131 innings. He has the best strikeout to walk ratio in the major leagues.
He's walked 2 over his last 5 starts, has Iwakuma.
That's in for a strike. That makes it 3-1 for Iwakuma.
His velocity appears to be down a bit.
Yeah, 87 on that one. Fastball for the season has averaged 90. He has a very good split finger pitch. Pena takes the leadoff walk. So imagine that.
Defensively for Seattle tonight. Behind the plate, Mike Zunino, the youngster. Around the infield, Justin Smoke, Nick Franklin, Brad Miller, young guys up the middle, and then Kyle Seager, also a youngster but with some experience. In the outfield, Michael Saunders in center, flanked by Jason Day, make that Jason Bay in right, and Raul Ibanez in left.
Iwakuma, in his 20 starts, in half of those, in 10 starts, has not walked a batter. Now right out of the chute, he walks Pena, and it's Jose Altuve following. Altuve at 281 has 3 homers. He's driven in 28. And double play ball there. There's the toss from Miller to Franklin, and on over to Smoke. 2 outs for Iwakuma on that one pitch.
That Seattle defense on the infield was really shallowed up. And I don't know if that had to do with speed of Altuve and where they felt they were best set up to start a double play possibility, but it certainly worked out very well for the Mariners. And you could see from that toss right there, a very short one from the shortstop to the bag at second base. They were just pinching and drawn in.
Now Jason Castro comes up, hitting .272. He has 12 homers, 31 runs batted in. He had a double last night to set a club record for doubles in a season by a Houston catcher with 26. Brad Ausmus held the previous mark. There's ball 1. And this is only July 20th. Very good doubles pace for Jason Castro this year. Ausmus had 25 doubles back in the '97 season. Astros 12 homers are the most by an Astros catcher since Mitch Molesky hit 14 in 2000. And of course an all-star, the first Astro catcher to be an all-star since the days of Craig Biggio, 1991. Well, a lot of positives are on the resume for Mr. Castro here in 2013 for Bo Porter. Iwakuma throws and it's ball 3, now 3-0.
And again, a second walk here in this first inning would match the total of walks allowed in the last 5 starts by this righty.
He follows the same pattern as Pena. It went from 3-0 to 3-1 in the count. Astros 1 for 5 against this Japanese-born right-hander who's 32 years old, born in Tokyo. Starting for the 3rd time against the Astros. He's 1-1 with an ERA of 1.5. And fouled away for a 3-ball 2-strike count.
Intriguing on the 3-1 that he would come with that splitter that he's so effective with.
Spent 11 years in the Central League in Japan, had an outstanding career there, and then the Mariners paid a posting fee of $4.5 million to his Japanese club to talk contract with him. Then they paid him $13 million on a 2-year deal. Still a pretty reasonable deal the way he's pitched. That is strike 3, real borderline pitch. It goes against Castro, and that's a scoreless first for both pitchers. Striking out Franklin and Ibanez, and then Iwakuma survived the leadoff walk. He got a double play ball and a strikeout. So things are clipping right along through 1 here. And Bedard facing this Seattle club, trying to cool them off. They're averaging 6.1 runs for the last 14 games, going 9-5 in July, Ash.
Yeah, they're an intriguing club, and they've gotten better as they've gotten younger with the youngsters up the middle. So tough assignment for Erik Bedard tonight, again facing a team that has turned into a power monster.
Kendrys Morales is a part of that with 14 long balls. He's driven in 54 with a .280 batting average for the Cuban-born slugger. Bedard's high with a fastball, and it's ball 1 to Morales, who's hit .346 against Houston pitching this year. Morales is 2 for 9 in his career against Bedard. Had 1 hit and a walk last night. He shoots that one to left field, and they're getting up in the seats in the Landry's Crawford boxes, but it's going foul. 1-1 to Morales. The youngster winds up with it. Or did he? He missed out on it. Bedard's been tagged for 14 long balls in 91 2/3 innings, so that Seattle power display, something he's certainly trying to harness tonight. Off the mask of Castro, it's a 1-2 count.
Love the reaction, which is no reaction from Jason Castro. Take the foul tip and move on. Tough guy back there.
Curveball is top to third base. Matt Dominguez coming in, has time with Morales, very slow, and it's out number 1. Bedard flipped up that breaking pitch, And Morales got on top of it, hitting the slow ground ball.
Bedard with a couple of strikeouts back in the first inning, got one after spotting a nice fastball at the knees. Changeup comes into play and has the hitter out in front. That was Nick Franklin. Raul Ibanez just couldn't catch up with the fastball at 90 miles an hour. Couple right in that zone where the hitter might say, put it right here. Let me see how far I can hit one.
Now Kyle Seager. Seager takes ball one. He leads the Mariners with 108 hits. He's 9th in total bases in the American League and currently on a 15-game hitting streak, hitting .421 during those games, up to .292 for the season. And Seager had a big night last night. Belted a home run. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Seager's been absolutely lighting it up. He's the first Mariner since Ichiro to go through a season with 2 15-game hitting streaks or better. In the air, and left fielder Carter moves in for it a little bit. 2 down.
Log on to csnhouston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on csnhouston.com.
5 straight retired by Bedard, who, as Ash mentioned, has lost his last 3 starts. His last win was here over St. Louis, June 25th. Pitching very well. He held off a hot-hitting Cardinal team 4-3 with 6 good innings of work. Justin Smoke is up next. He fouls it for strike one. Smoke, a .271 hitter with 9 homers, has 23 runs batted in.
Bedard has been pumping some fastballs right in the hitting zone, and Mariners hitters just not getting to it right now.
Smoke got to a 9th inning offering last night from Hector Ambrose and belted it out for a home run. Switch hitter. And the curveball works for strike 2. Curveball's been a very effective pitch for Erik Bedard statistically, with a 186 batting average against that pitch. Eric's pitched well here at home with a 2.98 ERA. The little tiny guy got one.
Apparently he's got some pretty good hands.
In for strike 3, and he got the fastball by. And with only 10 pitches needed in the second inning, Erik Bedard, very impressive, retiring 6 in a row. Moment in history brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. July 20th, 2003 is that date when Jeff Bagwell hit home run number 400. fact, he hit 2 in a 6-3 win over the Reds, the 35th player in history to reach the 400 home run mark.
You're not going to mistake that swing, that stance, for anybody else that's ever played this game. Jeff Bagwell, very unique, and what a tremendously unique hitter he was.
Very distinctive, you're right. Chris Carter, the batter now. And there's strike one on the fastball, elevated by Iwakuma to Carter, who has 18 homers to lead the club. 47 runs batted in, is tied for the club lead. His batting average, .229. He's hit very well against the Mariners this year. He takes the breaking pitch to even the count at 1-1. And Carter with 4 homers, 8 runs batted in against this Mariners pitching staff. It's had some very successful games against them. Last night he had a walk and a single. Different delivery there from Iwakuma, and that's typical of the Japanese-born pitchers, showing different angles, a hesitation, a lot for the hitter to process that they may not have grown up facing.
Chris Carter can't say he didn't get a pitch to hit in this at bat. That first fastball at 87 was right where he'd love to get it, and another.
Strikeout number 2. More on Jeff Bagwell, who wound up, as you know, with well over 400 career home runs. 449, 1,529 runs batted in, a 4-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger, MVP. Number retired.
Yeah, that .297 lifetime batting average actually was a bit of a slip that dropped him under 300. He had that 300 mark pretty well secured until just some of the final years that he put up, but just an amazing career.
Brett Wallace came off the bench last night. He hit a homer and drove in 3 in that game. Wallace takes a look at it for ball 1. And since he was recalled from AAA Oklahoma City, he's hit 300 for 60 at bats. .226 for the season with 5 bombs. He's driven in 16. Shift is on for Wallace. He looks at a strike that evens the count at 1-1. Astros have dropped 14 of their last 18. They're averaging 3.8 runs per game overall for the month of July, going 3-10 so far. Wallace grounds. Justin Smoke. Iwakuma. 2 down. The Astros have won 5 and lost 5 against the Mariners for the season. The Mariners have 25 wins against the clubs in the AL West and 24 losses. Eric Wedge's club making a run at 500 with 44 wins, 52 losses, and a 4-game winning streak. They swept the Angels right before the All-Star break. It's his 3rd year as the Mariners manager, and he's really changing players on the fly with his Seattle club this year, with Miller and Franklin. The 2 rookies moving in at shortstop and second, with the rookie catcher Zunino, and trying different players in center field with Franklin Gutierrez injured. Justin Maxwell is next. Strike to J-Max at 241. He has a homer, 6 runs batted in. 2 hits and a walk, and scored 3 runs in last night's game.
Love to see this guy get hot with the bat. He just is such an exceptional athlete.
That's a great build for baseball, doesn't he?
He looks like a guy when you stand near him on the field. His body screams superstar.
Rolled out to second base. Franklin gets it over to Smoke, and after a couple, it's no score. Cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Erik Bedard on the mound, waiting for Jason Bay to get in the box. Bay has had good career numbers at Minute Maid Park. Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates for years, went on to the Mets. Canadian-born outfielder, and he's one of 2 Canadian-born outfielders in the Seattle starting lineup. Saunders also from Canada. That's popped back behind the plate and out of play. Strike one to Bay at 11 homers, 20 runs batted in. Jason in the lineup against the lefty Bedard tonight. He did not play in last night's game. 214 average for Jason Bay.
The Canadian players are becoming more and more prominent in baseball. Joey Votto, probably the foremost among them presently.
Maybe Terry Poole started something.
Or did he ever? Larry Walker didn't hurt the matter.
2 balls and a strike.
I imagine Ferguson Jenkins might have something to say there.
Yeah, there have been some quality guys,
yeah.
Maybe not many, but high caliber players in Canada. 3 balls and a strike. Matt Stairs.
There's a guy that lasted.
Boy,
sure did. Put up some good numbers through the years.
Yep. In the air, and the right fielder comes over, Justin Maxwell. Well, and Erik Bedard is Canadian-born as well, so I don't know what the record is for Canadian-born players in the starting lineup, but 3 total in the game tonight.
Pretty good representation.
Yes. Cisnero is the batter. You know, it's very unusual for a team, and Seattle can claim this, to have rookies at catcher, second, and short. Here's ball 1. And Cisnero hasn't done a lot with the bat. Last night he walked 3 times, scored 3 runs, went 0 for 2, but the Mariners are very pleased with his defensive work.
What I would point out with Seattle is that while they've gotten younger, they've gotten better. And to me, that's the ideal scenario. Felix Hernandez right in the center there, and once again among the leaders, the leader in certain pitching categories.
He'll be pitching tomorrow here. 1 and 2 to Zunino. Michael Saunders on deck. King Felix leads the American League in ERA right now. He goes tomorrow against Jordan Lyles at 1:10. We're on the air at 12:30 with Astros pregame live. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll have the Eric Young bobblehead tomorrow.
Again?
Yeah.
Boy, I'm going to get tired of that thing pretty soon.
Well, it depends on what kind of karma we get from it tonight. We broke it out. This is its first game at the ballpark tonight. Here.
It really did look nice in your little pocket there on your coat.
That was fun. Close pitch goes for ball 3, and it's 3 and 2. Let's check out little EY.
Yeah. He fits perfectly.
Yeah. Little pocket pal.
Don't let him get out of there, because he will run like the wind.
Struck him out looking. That is strikeout number 4. Bedard very sharp. He's retired 8 in a row.
Bedard gets the high fastball right there at the belt buckle, but a lot of times you'll see that called a ball clearly within the prescribed strike zone. And I like the strike zone we're looking at tonight. It's given the pitchers a chance, and maybe at some point we'll force the hitters to swing the sticks.
33 pitches, getting 8 outs. 4 pitches per batter. That's efficient. Michael Saunders is next at 226. There's strike 1. Saunders with 6 homers has 24 runs batted in. Michael played right field last night. He was hit by a pitch and got a single. Moving over to center field for this game. Dustin Ackley was in center last night. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away, still 0-2. Left-handed hitters have hit about 70 points higher against Bedard than right-handed batters for the season.
Doesn't really have a put-away pitch for the left-hand hitter. Usually that might be a slider or a fastball that he'll spot inside. But Bedard has that true four-seam type heater and a curveball.
It's 1-2 for Erik Bedard. Trying to retire the first 9 in this game. Erik's 34 years old. He was born in Ontario, Canada. Last year he was 7-14 for Pittsburgh with a 5.01 ERA. That's strike 3, and he has retired 9 in a row. 5 strikeouts. The last 3 have been looking. Brandon Barnes was 5 for 5 last night, and he'll lead it off in the bottom of the 3rd.
Scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. Brandon Barnes was the hero last night. Even though the team lost the game, he had an historic night, and our Geico quote of the day comes from him. It's the top moment of my career so far. I was just thankful to do it in front of my wife. That was an awesome moment. Hitting for the cycle for the Astros, only the 9th time it has happened in club history. And Barnes is a guy who has been working so hard to get to this point, and he had been struggling mightily during the month of July before last night. But I got to tell you, he was thrilled after the game was over, and he told me today that within 30 minutes of the end of that game, he had 60 texts on his cell phone. Everybody in the family, everybody in the organization was celebrating last night, and then he said, time to put it aside and get back to work today. And that's what he's doing right now, Brownie.
He sure is, and now he has a chance for a 6th hit in a row in this series, taking strike 1, 250. 5 homers, 21 runs batted in for Brandon Barnes. He's hit .444 against Seattle pitching this year. What a great moment. Hitting for the cycle and then tacking on another hit. Ground ball up the middle, make it 6 consecutive hits in this series for Brandon Barnes. Our AT&T tweet of the game will show you something from Mike Acosta. Brandon Barnes is the 7th player in Astros history to hit for the cycle, and there's the baseball for the Magic double to complete the cycle.
Look at that baseball, because that's pretty darn close to what they look like. That's white paper behind. They'll rub them up with that mud that they use, the Mississippi mud, and it gets kind of a browner look than that yellow appearance right there. But boy, it's not the white baseball that comes out of the box.
First hit of the ball game puts Barnes on for Matt Dominguez. Matt takes, and it's strike 1 to Domingo at 228, 11 homers, 47 runs batted in for Matt.
But it is great stuff, Brownie, to see with Brandon Barnes swinging the bat now, and what a player he could become if that bat comes alive.
Raised his average 20 points last night alone. He had gone 3 for 36 in July, and then went for 5 for 5 in that one game. There's a shot on by the third baseman Seager into the left field corner. Here's Barnes turning for third, and the throw is deflected, and on into second goes Dominguez. So a lapse defensively for Seattle allows the Astros to put runners at second and third with nobody out.
That's one of those hot shots that's either the easiest double play you'll turn all night, or just one where you don't make the play at all, and Seager got that body out of the way.
And Ibanez made the throw, and that was low, and got by the shortstop Miller, and Dominguez cruised on into second base.
That's pretty hitting on the breaking ball. Looked like the hands were in perfect position for Matt Dominguez, and just hung out the shot.
Now second and third, nobody out. The middle infielders play back. Corner infielders are in even with the bases for Jake Elmore. At strike one to Elmore, a .250 hitter with one homer, 5 runs batted in. Elmore last night was a leadoff man. He went 2 for 5 in the game. He was asked by the media, or Bo Porter was asked by the media about Jake Elmore tonight, and he said, well, he doesn't have 100 at bats yet. We just need to let him play more. In fact, he has 56 at bats with the Astros. Fouls that one away, and it's 0-2, and a chance to make an immediate impact here in the third inning with 2 men in scoring position for Elmore.
My initial impression in watching Jake Elmore is that he's done a nice job assembling his hitting stroke. Looks like he can hang out some line drives. Not going to hit with a whole lot of power, generally speaking. I don't know that he's a shortstop when it's all said and done, but can he play as a utility guy at that position? Certainly appears that he can.
This is his 12th start in the last 16 games, so he's getting an opportunity to prove what he can do. He chased one, and Iwakuma will get hitters to do that. He gets a big strikeout. That's number 3 of the game. Carlos Pena, who opened the game offensively for the Astros with a first inning walk, and he was erased on a double play ball. He'll try to drive in these runners after the strikeout. And if the advance of Dominguez to second base had not been allowed by Seattle, a double play would have been in order right now. That could really work in the Astros' favor. The Mariners do not play him as such an extreme pull hitter as they would with nobody on base usually. Fouls it for strike one. It's a big opportunity the way Erik Bedard has been throwing, retiring the first 9 in this game, for the Astros to give him a little cushion. Pena's hitting .228 with runners in scoring position. Carlos batted leadoff the last 2 games in Tampa Bay in that 3-game series. It's 0-2.
That splitter is devastating. That might have actually been a fastball diving right in that fastball velocity range at 87. It's definitely the splitter to strike out Elmore. Watch the action on this pitch.
Batting average against his splitter is 178, and he throws it 20% of the time. And now Carlos really charged with making some contact here with Altuve on deck. He takes, and it's ball 1 for a 1-2 count on Carlos. With his 42 walks, he's tied for the club lead. Now looking here after walking in the first inning to get in a big swing. Iwakuma shooting for win number 9 of the season. He is 6th in innings pitched in the American League. And he and tomorrow's starter Felix Hernandez, both all-stars this year. Now it's 2-2 as Pena gets back into the count. So that's a tough trio for the Astros to face in this series. Joe Saunders, who was the winner last night, came in with an ERA of 2.52 for his 8 previous starts. And then the 2 All-Stars, Iwakuma with the 7th best ERA in the American League, and Hernandez, the AL ERA leader in the 2nd and 3rd games of the series. Peña's down on strikes.
Again, right back to that diving pitch, and I believe that's a hard splitter, getting that kind of sinking action. But watch this thing work downward, and you can see the split grip on that pitch, very much like a Mike Scott split finger.
That's devastating, Ash, as you know from having caught so many of those from Scotty, when it starts out around the knees and the hitter has to commit, and then it starts dipping.
You start it down around the knees, as you say, and it looks just like a fastball. You start the bat and you just cannot get to it.
Jose Altuve will try to give his club a big lift. He rolled into a double play earlier. This is the anniversary of his major league debut 2 years ago. He went 1 for 5 in his first major league game. In the dirt, and there's the block by Cisnero.
Yeah, you can go back and think of a guy like Bruce Sutter, who could throw that pitch after pitch. And not many guys center that splitter up very well.
Altuve has driven in 28. He is 2 for 6 in his career against this pitcher. Altuve's hitting .313 with 2 outs. That's 9th best in the American League. A 2-out hit here could really speak volumes for the Astros tonight, with the way Bedard has thrown the ball through the first 3. It's 2-0.
Iwakuma, he's had a lot of reason for the success he's had, and you can see that he's made some improvement this year, a little bit in terms of the strikeouts. He's picking up just under 8 per 9 innings. The walks are where he's really separated himself from last year, and he wasn't bad a year ago, but right now, as Brownie says, really the best in terms of not walking hitters. Guy that again had walked just 2 over 5 starts coming into this one.
He gets a call, and it's 2-1 to Altuve.
And he's not just throwing it down the middle, he's spotting it like this one, immaculate down and away on Altuve.
He really is.
You see this type of location, and as a hitter with 2 strikes, you have to do something, but up until then you're better off just laying off.
Oh, line back off him. He deflects it and throws to first base. That was a shot by Altuve, but right back at the pitcher, who turns it into a 1-3. Out number 3. No score through 3.
Fourth here at Minute Maid Park, Astros and Mariners remain scoreless. Let's talk group tickets and suites. Treat your employees, host clients, or bring out your church or youth sports team here to Minute Maid Park. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today. Erik Bedard with excellent command so far, Brownie.
And he threw ball one just as you said that, Bart.
Sorry about that.
Well, he hasn't thrown ball one too often tonight. He's retired the first 9. That was ball one to Brad Miller. And now it's 1-1 to Brad Miller. You know, last night, Ash, this is a rarity. I know we have stats for everything. Kind of weird. Supposedly, it was the first time in Major League history one rookie had hit for a cycle, Brandon Barnes, and another rookie, Brad Miller, had hit 2 home runs in a game. In the same game against each other.
Yeah, that's intriguing.
Wallace to first base. That's 10 in a row for Bedard.
Well, again, I mentioned it last night, as you did. It was the first time I was ever aware of a player coming up with an individual cycle, and in the inning when he accomplished it, the team hit for the cycle. That's what the Astros and Brandon Barnes did last night.
Well, because he got his double in the 8th inning. Justin Maxwell had led off with a single. Brett Wallace homered, and Altuve tripled later in that inning. So the Astros hit for a cycle in that inning. As a part of it, Barnes completed his cycle. Strike to Franklin. Franklin struck out in the first inning. And we've been researching. Let's see. Do you think no-hitters are more common than cycles?
I think they have been.
We were going to try to get some numbers on that one. No balls and 2 strikes. See if we got a text on that. Yeah. We've got it.
Well, you got the figures, huh?
Got the numbers.
Okay.
No hitters have been more common than cycles. We don't have the exact date, but it covers a number of years. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, going back, I think it's something like 15 years, Ash. There have been 200. No, that's not right. 239 no-hitters, 261 cycles. So it's close. We were thinking the cycle was more rare than the no-hitter, but not quite.
And that goes, how many years back did you say?
I think it's 15 or 20. I would have to get more information on that. But pretty close. 239 to 261. It's just about as difficult to do as a no-hitter.
Well, I won't even bother asking what I think is a silly question. More valued the no-hitter or the cycle? For me, it's hands down the no-hitter. Yeah, the cycle for me is a little bit of a gimmick on a given night.
It is. Struck him out. 6 strikeouts for Erik Bedard.
August 5th through the 7th of August, the Astros take on Big Papi, David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, and the Boston Red Sox in their only trip to Minute Maid Park this year. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to get your tickets right now to see the team with the best record in Major League Baseball right now.
Red Sox and Yankees are meeting this weekend. Raul Ibanez struck out in the first. Strike 1 to the ancient Mariner, 41 years old.
I wonder how much he appreciates being called that.
Well, he has some teammates who are in their early 20s, so he probably is ancient to them. It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count for Erik Bedard, who came into this game with 3 wins, 6 losses, and a 4.61 ERA.
I imagine for a professional athlete, at some point it becomes a bit of a compliment. Found a way to hang on and avoid injuries that take down others.
It's 2-1.
Oh, and by the way, hitting more than 20 home runs already at this stage of the year. Pretty phenomenal stuff for this guy.
Big cut there, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Raul.
Erik Bedard has had everything he's needed against the left-handed bats tonight, and everybody for that matter as you look at what he's done mowing through the Mariners, but left-handed bats just having a tough time making any contact.
We've seen some very big swings by the Mariners hitters so far. Do you suppose that a team that had banged out 11 hits, 10 runs, 4 homers the night before could fall into that?
Intriguing question. What I think is, in this crazy game that we watch day in, day out, that anything is possible. I don't even know what momentum is. When I played, people would say because you'd won 5 in a row or 8 in a row or whatever the case was, you've got momentum on your side. And of course you would agree and try to go along as if you astutely were aware of that fact. But I never spoke to anybody that had any notion as to what momentum really was. I don't know. And I never quite understood home field advantage.
Well, I think in baseball, momentum is very difficult to define, and something like boxing is totally different.
Yeah.
You know, if one fighter is pounding another, it's pretty easy to understand where the momentum is there.
Well, look, in a game like last night, early on, certainly Seattle had a lot of momentum on their side. But did they have momentum because of what they had done the day before or the day before that? For me, it's really hard to grasp.
No doubt.
Seems to be a curtain that drops at the end of every game.
Strikeout number 7 for Erik Bedard. He is perfect through 4 in a scoreless game.
Duel, and we want to remind you to tune in to Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 here on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. Some kids right there enjoying a nice game today, Brownie.
And a lot of them will stick around for the Faith and Family Night concert from 10 Avenue North right after the game tonight, Bart. 3 of the Astros players will be speaking to the crowd as the band sets up 10th Avenue North for the concert. Justin Maxwell, Carlos Pena, and Brandon Barnes will be speaking to those. We had great crowds last night for the 2 Faith and Family Nights. They all kind of gathered behind the Astros dugout.
Look for a moment there like it's not about the score, it's about the food. and maybe at one point there, the texting as well.
Oh, you know. Ever-present texting. There's ball 1 to Castro. He struck out looking on a questionable 3-2 pitch. Borderline call in the first inning. Bats are up the middle, and Franklin backhands. Jump throw over to first. Spectacular play by Nick Franklin. He absolutely robbed Castro. That looked like a hit all the way.
And you can see the frustration in the dugout there from Jason Castro. It's universal in this game. You just cannot handle these plays. But that is one terrific play, and Franklin felt the only way he could make it was continuing toward left center field and throw with that jumping effort, and he makes it beautifully. Well, you're digging down the line. You just feel like, oh, please, for once in my life, make me fast.
Chris Carter bats. He struck out swinging in the second. He lifts this one to left field. That's going to go for a while. Ibanez takes a look up at it. That's off the wall and in play. Carter in with a double. Didn't quite pull it enough to get a home run. That's 14 doubles for Carter.
Yeah, if you're a big man like Chris Carter and you're going to get jammed just a hair, you need to get out in front and put that to the Crawford boxes. Awfully close. That's a pretty swing. He gets through the baseball when he does it well, extremely nicely. And I don't know, Brownie, there are moments here over the last few weeks anyway for Chris Carter where I've had the feeling he's starting to find it.
That's what John Maley thinks.
This guy is going to find it at some point.
Yes. John Maley can see it, he says. Red Wallace the batter now. He grounded out. This bouncer goes to first base. Smoke. 2 outs. Carter to third.
The other guy I get that feeling on is Brett Wallace. And he's had some very shiny moments of late, but yeah, he's got some potential in there.
Well, he hit a homer last night off a lefty, and that's notable. Joe Saunders started that game, but he homered off Oliver Perez, the lefty reliever. He's the first left-handed hitter to hit a home run off Oliver Perez this year. Justin Maxwell is the batter. Chance for a 2-out RBI for J-Max with Carter at third. Justin grounded out to second earlier. All healed up now. He's had 2 different injuries. One, a broken hand when facing this pitcher, Iwakuma, back on April 23rd. Ball 1. Justin was hit by a pitch on the left hand, and he was batting with the bases loaded when he got hit by that pitch. That was a loss for Iwakuma. The Astros beat him 3-2 here in Houston. He gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned in 5 innings. He struck out 11. And then Iwakuma won at Seattle 3-2.
Chris Carter might need to extend his lead a bit with a guy who likes to use the splitter on the hill. Ball kicks away from the catcher a bit. You need to be able to score in this scoreless ball game.
1-1.
I think there are times when you kind of relax into what you do all the time, but I think you also have to see the moment of any given game. And Iwakuma loves to turn to that splitter.
Iwakuma is one of 9 current major leaguers, active or disabled, born in Japan. Maxwell tried to check his swing, but he went on appeal to Todd Tichenor. It's 1-2. Mariners have had that connection with the Japanese market after signing Ichiro, and then when he became such a star, that really brought a lot of people from Japan into the Mariners family of fans, so to speak. So that call puts Maxwell behind 1-2 here. It's 2-2. Baseball has become such an international sport now. You know, think about Ichiro breaking down some barriers. And there had been some Japanese pitchers who were signed by the Giants back in, I think, the late 50s or so, Ash, but not very many. And he just really became a star player. And that made other players in Japan want to follow him.
Matsunori Murakami was the one that, or Murakami, I don't recall, Murakami, that signed with the Giants. He's the first guy I really recall.
I think he was the first. He was a pitcher. Maxwell takes, and it's 3-2, and then we've had such an influx of players from Cuba. We talked about the Canadians earlier. It truly has become an international sport.
Yeah, and imagine if the game can take off in Asia, throughout China, and so many kids can become participants in the game.
Yes.
Got a chance of just growing like crazy.
That's off the plate. Maxwell takes a walk. Second walk of the game for Iwakuma. And now Brandon Barnes, who shot a single up the middle, will be looking for his 7th consecutive hit. And this one would do some damage if he gets it. Great time for Brandon Barnes. We've had a phenomenal night, and Bart talked about it. He heard from so many people last night, but he chose to put that one quickly in the rearview mirror and concentrate on this game. And there's strike one.
Interesting, with 6 consecutive hits, that it looked like Brandon was taken all the way on a first pitch fastball.
Yes, it did. Dave Tremblay, the third base coach, giving signs. There have been 3 hits in the game. The Astros have all 3. Maxwell takes off. There's a bouncer. Kyle Seager fields it on a hop and gets the out. No runs, a hit, 2 men stranded after 4. Erik Bedard is locked in a scoreless battle with Hisashi Iwakuma.
Scotch Blue painter's tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Erik Bedard picking up some strikeouts tonight. He has been el perfecto to this point, and finding inside edges, moving it all around, catching some hitters looking. Erik Bedard, it's nice to start in a ball game as you can have.
He's thrown 8 of 12 first pitch strikes, 54 pitches through the first 4.
7 strikeouts already.
And that breaking ball comes in. It's 0-2. Everything has played routine. Every ball that's been in play. He has really been dominant, but he's thrown hittable pitches that the Mariners have just simply not been able to do anything with. And they've taken some big hacks. It's 1-2. You mentioned El Perfecto, and you think of Dennis Martinez in the bullpen, and the perfect game he pitched for the Montreal Expos on the West Coast against the Dodgers.
Dennis Martinez had himself some kind of curveball, and I think to this day he's probably still quite proud of that thing. Seen him out on the side, kind of mixing it in on occasions.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The bullpen coach just joined the Astros this year. He had been in the Cardinal organization in the minor leagues as a pitching coach. That looked like a pretty good pitch, but apparently too far inside. That makes it 3-2. Erik Bedard pitched a game at Seattle April 9th. 4 innings of 1-hit shutout ball. He retired the first 10 in that game. And that is ball 4. So the first man to reach for the Mariners is Morales on a leadoff walk here in the 5th. And Bedard came out of that game. He had been in the bullpen. That was his first start of the year. And the Astros had a big lead. So he did not even get the win in a 16-9 Houston victory in Seattle against his former club. Kyle Seager had a 2-0 pitch. He hit it in the air to left field for out number 2 in the 2nd inning. Now Bedard, in his first year with Seattle, 2008, he had shoulder surgery. Made 15 starts. He had been the opening day starter that year, and then the next year he had more surgery on the left shoulder. Made 15 more starts, had an ERA of 2.82, but just was never really able to demonstrate what he could do at his full ability because of the health issues there. But it's a 2-ball, no strike count to Seager. Bedard needing a strike here after 6 straight balls. He's thrown 62 pitches. And it's foul back. Seager swinging away. Count going to 2-1 now.
You can certainly guess fastball in a 2-0 count right after a walk, and you'll get it the vast majority of the time. And that's what Bedard came with. But he crossed up Seager a bit by putting that fastball right on the inside edge, right on the hands of the lefty.
Seager really could be one of the linchpins of this Seattle club. 3rd round pick in 2009 from North Carolina. He chased that one. Not a good swing there. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Seager. He was the club MVP of the Mariners last year.
Yeah, I would suggest that not many so-so baseball fans were even aware of a Kyle Seager, but good-looking young hitter.
That's ball 3, and it's a full count now, and a decision here for the skipper, Erik Bedard of the Mariners, about whether to send Morales or not. Morales is slow, but he would be counting on contact from Seager if he had him running on the pitch.
So you play that game with yourself if you're the manager. What's the likelihood that my hitter strikes out? Well, in this scenario, the likelihood is that he gets a fastball, and if he does get a fastball, can he handle it? You run through that all quickly and try to come up with a good response.
He struck him out.
So likelihoods all went out the window with that breaking ball.
A good non-send by Erik Bedard.
Whereas Jason Castro and Erik Bedard were aware of that mental conversation being had.
8 strikeouts through 4 1/3 for Erik Bedard. His career high is 15 back in July of 2007 at Texas. And he was pitching for Baltimore then. He was 13-5 in 2007. Justin Smoke is the batter. He struck out looking earlier. And takes a look at ball 1. And he struck out 8 a couple of times for the Astros this year, so he's tied that high. Jason Bay on deck. The Mets beat the Phillies 5-4 in New York, dropping Cole Hamels to 4 wins and 12 losses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jimmy Rollins hit his 5th home run. That Philadelphia club just trying to hang in there and regroup a little bit, but the way Atlanta has played with a 6.5 game lead over the Phillies coming into the game today, that's going to take some doing. The Phillies are really going to have to step up their game if they're to move up in the standings. That'll go foul. 1-2.
Yeah, I think it's the Washington Nationals that most have me scratching my head when you talk National League East.
No
team
doubt.
that coming out of spring training, I thought they were the runaway favorite.
Yes. Steven Strasburg is something like 5-7 with an ERA under 3.
How would you figure that? I mean, there's just no way a guy with that kind of natural stuff could fall to those low numbers.
High chop goes foul for Dominguez. Still 1-2. Yeah, and they've had their problems hitting too, and this is a team that has not been in sync this year. White Sox beat the Braves 10-6 in Chicago on a grand slam by Alex Rios. Jake Peavy returned to the mound, and he was the winner for the White Sox. A lot of scouts have been watching to see what Peavy would do. He may be going somewhere in a trade. And Uggla hit his 19th, and Freddie Freeman his 9th for the losing Braves. Paul Maholm, loser. Big cut there, and smoke goes down at strikeout number 9. So let's see who might be traded. It's purely a guess, Ash. We have no idea. Matt Garza.
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw our guesses out there. Matt Garza seems to be the most likely candidate. Jake Peavy, you just talked about, and Alex Rios. There's a lot of contract in tow with Alex Rios, so that could get intriguing. But he's a talented player, can do a lot of things. And recent seasons have been quality from Rios.
Media's getting jumpy this time of year.
Where's Bud Norris on that list?
He's not on our list. There's strike one to Bay. Well, we don't know. We have no clue what might be happening here in the next 11 days prior to the non-waiver trading deadline. You know, there was a jumpy moment for the media last night. Alex Rios was pulled out of the game by the White Sox skipper for not running out a ground ball, apparently.
Always one of those signs, huh?
Yeah, so everybody thought, oh, there's a trade going on here. Elmore to second, and Altuve receives that throw for out number 3, but no trade. And it's no runs, no hits, and a man left, but no hits for the game for the Mariners. No score. It's scoreless here and hitless for the Mariners through 5. Bo Porter was out early today in the community, as he often is, and he has been involved with the Vet Sports Wounded Warriors national softball team. He was out to throw a first pitch at a local field today. They were here last night. Vet Sports' mission is to help wounded veterans overcome their injuries through adaptive sports and rehabilitation programs. Bo Porter is a supporter of that Vet Sports program.
Now, Bo's got to find a way to get that pitch down a bit.
Iwakuma gives up a hit to left field. Matt Dominguez climbed all over that pitch. And he spun on it, and he's got a 2-for-2 night going.
Almost looked like batting practice time right there. Just
did.
pumping in a nice, easy fastball for the first pitch and hanging out the line shot. Talk about the nice swings from Chris Carter. When Matt Dominguez gets it rolling, he can put a nice pass on the ball as well. Been a while since we've seen that power game now.
Dominguez aboard for Elmore now. Jake struck out with runners at second and third in the third inning. A big out for Iwakuma then. And not a good swing for Elmore. The third baseman Seager had crept in on the grass. Carlos Pena's on deck. Astros are hitting .226 as a team with runners in scoring position, and they failed to execute in the third inning. Showing bunt this time. Elmore takes a look at it, and it's 1-1. Now they had men at second and third when Barnes singled, took third on the hit by Dominguez. Dominguez cruised on into second base when the throw was low and got by Miller, and then the Astros promptly failed to get anybody home. Elmore struck out. Pena struck out. Altuve hit a line drive knocked down by Iwakuma, who threw him out. The Astros for the season in 10 games against the Mariners have hit .303. They've scored 53 runs in those 10 games, and they've belted 15 homers. But, you know, to look at it game by game, it might give you a little bit different flavor of how the season series has gone, because the Astros really unloaded with some high scoring games early in the year. Runner goes, hot shot past a diving Seager up the left field line. Here's Dominguez into third, and Elmore gets into second with a double. So Bo Porter takes advantage of Dominguez with that leadoff single, taking off and then getting to third on the hit by Elmore.
Said earlier that Jake Elmore has done a nice job putting his hitting together. He's probably not the kind of guy that's going to drive in a load of runs over his career, but as a utility type of player, he's got a nice quick bat. He can be effective offensively. And Dominguez just cruises on into third base as the Astros now have a golden scoring opportunity come their way.
Second and third, nobody out again for the second time in this game. Carlos Pena is the batter. He has a walk and a strikeout. And there's strike one for Iwakuma. The Astros won a 16-9 game in Seattle back on the 9th of April. They followed that up with an 8-3 win. And here against the Mariners, they won a game 10-3. So they have had some real outbursts offensively. Seattle has been known for fine pitching. Lately, it's been a revitalized Seattle offense. Bouncer goes foul. The Mariners' ERA for the season is 4.23. That's 9th best in the American League.
That's a pitching staff that's been accustomed in previous years to pitching in a great pitcher's park in Seattle. It's pretty fair now, might even lean toward the hitters a bit.
Mariners on the road this year are 19-27. They've played 500 ball at home, 25-25. The way Bedard has been placing the ball, a hit here could really go a long way for Houston. Astros 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position in this game. And foul back. We're talking about that White Sox situation. Alex Rios was pulled out of the game last night for not running hard, apparently on a ground ball. And at the same time, he's been rumored to be involved with trade talks with Pittsburgh on the other end. And then the media was checking and saw that one of the Pittsburgh minor league players had been scratched from a start and started to put A and B together and added up to C. And there were some trade rumors developing there, but nothing to it.
I think anytime you see that major leaguer taken off the field, you ask yourself, especially if it's late July, okay, so what's going on? What's the deal? Where has he been traded?
Right.
Why are they keeping him now from any possible injury?
Well, we saw it happen with Hunter Pence in Milwaukee, pulled from the game and traded in that fashion. And it's that time of year when people look for that sort of thing.
That player can come right off the field, not have a clue, and then find out in the dugout exactly what's going on.
Sure. We saw a rumor involving Hunter Pence today.
Is he wanted or unwanted?
Well, it depends on where they are in the standings. That's going to stay on the infield, and foul for Justin Smoke. One out.
Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico viewers, listen up. Comcast Sportsnet covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us all your ideas at Regional Roundup at ComcastSportsnet.com. That's a costly first out. We've seen this song, a little different portion of the song earlier in the ball game, but you don't want to see it play out again where Iwakuma squirms out of another chance for the Astros.
Altuve hit the ball hard, but right back at Iwakuma, who knocked it down and threw him out in the third. He had bounced into a double play in the first. And now gets another shot with runners at second and third for the second time in this game. In the air, and that'll score somebody way back into right field. Caught on the warning track by Bay, and Dominguez comes home to make it 1-0 Houston. Elmore also advancing on the sacrifice fly by Altuve, giving him 29 runs batted in.
Well, finally somebody coming through to drive in a run here. Sequentially, you'd love to reverse things, have the Altuve out be the first out of the inning, and then take your chances with another man at third. But good job again by Altuve, and you could see he was thinking all right field. I think he feels like he can elevate that ball maybe better than when he pulls it.
You can see on the one replay the bat just catching the lower half of the baseball as he lifted it and executed that plan to get the runner home. Now 1-0, and Jason Castro bats. He's 0 for 2, a strikeout looking, and a bouncer up the middle. Franklin made a terrific play to throw him out in the fourth. Carter's on deck. That one was a pitch with a lot of movement for strike one. Cubs and Rockies scoreless at the end of one in Colorado. The Rays beat the Blue Jays in Toronto 4-3 today. Jeremy Hellickson going to 9-3, beating Mark Burley. He's 5-7. Fernando Rodney got his 23rd save. Jose Bautista hit his 22nd homer. 1-1. Reds are beating the Pirates 5-4. They're in the top of the 8th at Cincinnati. McCutchen hit his 11th home run. And Garrett Jones, number 9 for the Buccos. Strike 2 to Castro. It's 1-2 to Jason. Pirate Club is going to be interesting to watch now. Will this be the year they avoid the second half collapse?
Last couple of years looked like they would be the year in each case, and boy, that second half collapse came in strong fashion.
Well, they're further above 500 than they were either of those last 2 years. They're 56-38 now. Broken bat roller. The shortstop Miller comes over, bobbles, throws late, and the run scores to make it 2-0. Miller had a long way to come to his right. He mishandled the ball slightly, and Castro's able to reach first base. more scoring after tagging on a fly ball to get to third. He comes home on the infield roller.
Yeah, we've talked about how Seattle has added some youngsters up the middle, and this being one of the guys, Brendan Ryan, the veteran shortstop, known as one of the game's outstanding elite shortstops. And so for the moment, this move with the youngster at shortstop costs him a run.
Ruled an infield single for Castro. That gives him his 32nd run batted in and makes it 2-0. 6 hits for Houston now. Chris Carter, the batter, he has one of those, a double. Deep drive to center field. Way back for Saunders. Saunders turns, and it didn't carry as well as it looked like it might. It's caught on the warning track, but the Astros get 2 runs on 3 hits. They lead 2-0. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Jack in the Box. Go big at a Jack in the Box near you with Jack's Big Stack Burger. 2-0. The Astros lead it. They scored twice in the 5th inning. RBI single by Jason Castro after the sac fly by Jose Altuve. Erik Bedard has not given up a hit. He's allowed just 1 walk through 5. That's been the only base runner. And Bedard has thrown 10 of 16 first pitch strikes. Mike Zunino leads it off here in the 6th inning. He struck out looking in the 3rd. And strike 1 from Bedard. 74 pitches for Erik Bedard. 46 have been strikes. He's had 9 strikeouts, 4 ground ball outs, and 2 outs in the air. Breaking pitch comes in, and it's 0-2. Well, you and Jeff Blum had a lot of fun with that magnificent game at Tampa Bay by Jared Cosart.
6 1/3 without a hit against him, and he was dominant and not picking up a ton of strikeouts, but just spotting it so well. And the plays were routine. He took a ball club that had been winning and winning at a steady rate and just handed it to him.
At strikeout number 10. Quite a game for Erik Bedard tonight through 5 1/3.
You wonder, did Bedard sense any of this coming out of the bullpen as he warmed up? And most of the time, quite frankly, the answer is no, and sometimes a demonstrative no. Guys will say, I had nothing down there. I couldn't command it at all. And then they hit the mound, and it just suddenly happens.
Michael Saunders struck out looking in the 3rd. Showing bunt, and that's ball 1.
Been around the other occasions when guys felt like they had the terrific stuff in the pen, and it actually turned out to be, because a lot of the times when they feel that way in their warm-up session, it just doesn't pan out at all.
That's chop foul, and it's 1-1 to Saunders. It's 4-3. Kansas City leading Detroit after 4 in KC tonight. Jeremy Guthrie pitching for Kansas City against Justin Verlander. That's strike 2, and it's 1-2.
Pulled the string on that one.
Well, Bedard has a 2.98 ERA in this ballpark this year. This is his 16th career game with 10 strikeouts or more. Two balls, 2 strikes. In Erik's career against Seattle, he's 1-3 with a 4.78 ERA for 6 starts. Indians and Twins are scoreless in the bottom of the 5th. It's Corey Kluber pitching for Cleveland. And it's 3-2 now. 4th full count for Bedard. Dodgers and Nationals are scoreless after 5 in our nation's capital. And a walk. That's the 2nd of the night for Bedard. Saunders runs well. He has 11 steals in 14 tries. He's aboard for Miller.
Join the Houston Astros and the Baseball Tomorrow Fund in supporting youth baseball and softball at Equipment Day. That's Sunday, tomorrow, July 21st. Donate new or gently used equipment at select games at Minute Maid Park.
That's a nice opportunity when you come out to help out a young ball player by bringing some equipment you don't need. Miller has twice grounded to Brett Wallace. That's strike 1 to him.
That's the curveball that Bedard was looking for to polish off Saunders.
That baseball equipment will go to the kids at the Astros Urban Youth Academy. And the Baseball Tomorrow Fund will award a $5,000 grant to the Special Olympics Texas branch of Greater Houston during the pregame ceremony tomorrow. It's 1-1. Got a blood drive today. There's a whole lot going on this homestand. And tomorrow it's Jordan Lyles and Felix Hernandez, a 1:10 start for the finale of this series. Then the Oakland A's come in Monday night. Dallas Keuchel opposes Tommy Malone in that game. Tuesday night, Jared Cosart returns from AAA Oklahoma City. He'll draw Jared Parker. Wednesday, it's a 1:10 game for Bud Norris and A.J. Griffin. That's a strike. That makes it 1-2 to Miller. It's been an ongoing effort for many years for the Astros to host blood drives here at Union Station. Hey, there's Dina Propus. And the fans who come in can get vouchers for tickets to a game later on this season, get a free t-shirt, and help somebody out. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Dodger National game, no score after 5. It's Zach Greinke going for LA against Gio Gonzalez. Yasiel Puig is 0 for 3 so far tonight on the Puig watch. Ash. On the Puig watch right now, he's hitting .373.
Is there a larger watch in all of baseball?
Now he's being sued, according to reports, by a guy in Cuba.
$12 million.
3-2 now.
Apparently he did some besmirching, and it was of grand fashion for $12 million.
A lot of besmirching. Well, will Saunders go here on the 3-2 pitch? There have only been 4 stolen base attempts on Bedard all season. 3 have been successful.
Done a really nice job in that regard with that slide step. I've said it many times, pickoff moves, they can work at times. Slide step will work as often as you employ it.
Runner does go. There's a ball, and so the play at second means nothing. It's ball 4 to Miller. Now back-to-back walks bring up Franklin.
Jason Castro must have felt that was close enough to possibly get the call. Otherwise, no throw goes down to second base. And this has come up a couple of times recently for the Astros, and they have not gotten the call. That slider sweeping across. And when you're sitting behind as a catcher, that feels like it's got to get some plate. And again, with that slide step, no chance to steal the bag. Easy throw out. Where was that pitch? Yeah. That's a golden shot at the double play.
Now Bedard and Castro have a moment on the mound in this 2-0 game with runners at first and second and 1 out, and Franklin the batter.
And how many times I've had an umpire say, well, when you came up and threw, you blocked me. You're kidding, right? You realize that's an element that has to be done in front of you. Yeah, it's very frustrating.
This will be the 90th pitch for Bedard coming up. Franklin, a confident, good-looking young player. First-round pick in 2009. Through the minor leagues, he was a better hitter as a left-handed batter. There's strike 1 to Franklin. And he came up as a shortstop. Last year he hit .322 in 205 at-bats at Double-A Jackson. This year he's hitting .226 batting right-handed, .292 left. It's a 1-1 count. Franklin is known as an exceptional athlete. He's from Sanford, Florida. And the Mariners have been developing some very talented players. They also made that trade with the Yankees for Jesus Montero, but he has not worked out. Saunders is dancing off second. This one gets away from Castro. Both runners moving up without a throw.
That pitch from a left-hand pitcher to the glove side of a catcher, I think unanimously is the tough one for catchers to deal with, and Jason just gets eaten up. Let's see what this hits. It sounded like it hit shin guard. Heel of glove, maybe some shin guard in there.
Yeah.
That side, for whatever reason, is the tough side for a catcher, and it is all the tougher from the left-hand pitcher with it moving in that direction. Backhand side, easy as can be.
Second and third now with 1 out, and this fly ball hits for center field. Both runners are tagging. Barnes back. Barnes with a catch. This will make it 2-1 Houston. And the throw goes into third. Sacrifice fly for Franklin. It gives him his 20th run batted in and gets the Mariners on the board. And they have 1 run on no hits.
Yeah, and again it comes down to a close pitch, called a ball with runner in motion, strike him out, throw him out potential. Didn't happen. We had that in last night's game, and that hurt Bud Norris.
The previous play was ruled a pass ball on Castro. So that put the runners in position, and Franklin was able to deliver that runner from third. As the Mariners get on the scoreboard, now they have Ibanez batting. Runner at third, 2 outs. They appeal at second that the runner there left too soon, but that is not the ruling of the umpire at second, C.B. Buckner. Now Bo Porter's coming out. This is interesting. Astros must have been dead certain that Miller left too soon.
As a manager, you're not armed with anything there other than the way you saw it. But boy, it sure looks like Bo felt without a doubt that there was an early lead.
He's trying to read lips. It looked as if Buckner might have said it was not even close.
Oftentimes that can be a dangerous line. Let's see how close it wasn't. Okay. Catch is made. Like a good tag.
Buckner was in position. And he lined it up so he could see the base runner and the catch by Barnes without moving his head.
To say it wasn't even close would be an exaggeration, I think. But
now Ibanez looks at ball one. Bedard in his last 9 starts has only received 15 runs of support from his offense in those 9 games. Almost hit him. 2-0.
I think a changeup from Bedard, and he's had a tendency of having those get away from him. Couldn't tell if it was change or breaking ball. Certainly off speed. I believe changeup. It was not the easiest evasion for a hitter that I've seen.
No. Tough to maintain balance sometimes.
Apparently, after the age of 40, it's easier to hit home runs than to get out of the way of the changeup.
Big cut there makes it 2-1 to Ibanez. Bedard, with his 10 strikeouts tonight against the Mariners, has joined Matt Latos, Yu Darvish, Joe Blanton as those who have struck out at least 10 Mariners in a game this year. This one gets by Castro and then squirts off to the side, and the tying run scores. And it's 2-2, and the Mariners have scored twice without getting a hit.
And again, I'll point out glove side for Jason Castro. It's not meant as an excuse. It's just a reality that catchers, when they do struggle, will tend to struggle on that side. And watch him reach to his left. This ball hits off the glove, and that for me is another pass ball.
Pass ball it is. Second of the inning for Castro, and it's 3-1 now. And ball 4 to Ibanez. Strange inning. 2 walks and 2 pass balls, a sacrifice fly. And now 4 walks in the game for Bedard. He was perfect through the first 4. 2-2 game, and it's a weird line score too, Ash. 2-0-0 for Seattle, 2-6-0 for Houston. Kendrys Morales has grounded out and walked.
Numerous occasions I've looked at games that were very well pitched in terms of hits allowed. Guy might not give up a hit and yet give up a run in a ball game, and occasionally 1 hit and he'll allow a couple of runs, and you look at it and say, how could that be? We've looked at it here in the 6th inning. Pretty stark.
0-2. Bedard's thrown 99 pitches now. He's been over 100 in each of his last 2 starts, with a 109 count in his last start at Tampa Bay, July 14th. That's his high for the year.
This is going to turn into a tough decision for Bo Porter here pretty soon.
Loop to right field. Maxwell there to end the 6th inning for Seattle with 2 runs scoring on no hits, and through 6 they still have no hits, but they're tied at 2.
Astros and Mariners now tied up at 2, and it's time for our progressive fan of the game. You know, the Astros have been very active in honoring all members of our military, all branches. In fact, yesterday we had members of the Wounded Warrior Project take the field with the team for the national anthem. That was a big thrill for those guys. Today we have another member of our military here. Introduce yourself.
Army Specialist Amy Harrison.
Specialist Amy Harrison, who served in the Army in Iraq. Yes. What years?
2003, 2004.
And your daughter Brooke is next to me here on my right. Now, how old was Brooke when you were deployed?
She was 3.
That had to be very difficult.
It was very hard. She had her 3rd birthday while I was away. I think I cried all day.
Oh, my goodness. And what were your duties over there?
I was an MP, so we did a lot of convoy security, area security for some of the bases. Mainly just made sure that the supplies were safely transported to the different camps.
Well, good for you. Now, the Astros have some seats here right behind home plate that they reserve for members of the military every game, and that's where we're sitting here today. But we wanted to make you our progressive fan of the game for everything you went through, leaving your daughter and going off to serve our country. We appreciate that very much, and congratulations for being our progressive fan of the game.
Thank you so much.
Rowdy, back up to you guys.
Good story, Bart. Thank you. Red Wallace is the batter. It's 0-2 on him in a 2-2 game, bottom of the 6th inning. Wallace is twice grounded to first base in this game tonight. It's 1-2 now. Iwakuma with his club scoring twice to tie it. Comes into this 6th inning with a low pitch count of 68 so far. Very strange top of the 6th inning. 3 walks and 2 pass balls to go with a sac fly. And that strike 3 call, and Wallace, it appeared, thought the ball was well inside. Bill Miller rings it up. 5 strikeouts now for Iwakuma.
Yeah, does this pitch catch the plate? I'm sure Brett Wallace would tell you not a chance. And how did it compare in terms of proximity to a corner to the pitch that Bedard threw that otherwise was strike 3 and a throw out at second base for a double play and an inning-ending play? A lot of times, very close pitches, close plays, difference in a game.
Justin Maxwell wraps one. Fair ball. It kicks out toward second base. And that gives him a chance to get easily into second. The ball just kind of sat there inside the left field line. Ibanez had to come after it. And that's double number 8 for J-Max.
This ball was scalded pretty thoroughly by J-Max. Big, strong guy. You just would love to see more and more of this barreling up of the baseball. There's no chance to make a play. The ball boy is the only guy with any possibility, and he made the right play.
Astros bullpen is busy. That's hit number 7 for Houston. Brandon Barnes has a shot here. He's 1 for 2. And it's ball 1. Back to that strike 3 call on Brett Wallace. Cisnero had to reach quite a bit over to his right to receive that pitch. And sometimes the home plate umpire will not give a strike call on that just because the pitcher missed the target by so much.
It looks bad to fans in the stands. And I think that's the biggest reason why they won't give that even when it's on the plate. And sometimes when it's off the plate, you may see a call. I mean, there's nothing super consistent about it.
Only 1 for Barnes with Matt Dominguez on deck. Dominguez is 2 for 2 tonight. No hits for the Mariners, 7 hits for the Astros. Seattle has left 2. Houston has stranded 5. Outside to Barnes. 2-1 to Brandon. Quite a story. 8 minor league seasons. And then he made his first opening day roster this year. And Jeff Luhnow, the Astros general manager, gave Brandon a chance to talk to the team before the opening night game against the Texas Rangers. He fired him up, according to reports. Bouncer back to Iwakuma. He's got a rundown going on Maxwell. Throws behind him. And now Miller throws to Seager. Seager with a fake. He throws it, and here's the play at third base for the out. And Barnes gets into second. Well, Maxwell was able to occupy the Mariners so long that the Astros really didn't lose anything. They still have a runner at second base and 2 outs.
Iwakuma has shown that he's quick on the hill. Nice fielding position and gets this rundown started. This is not effectively done by Seattle. Nobody coming on backsides of throws to shorten the distance, and that enabled Maxwell to just keep it going and allow the runner to move up into second. Barnes.
1-6-5-4-1. And Maxwell just kept them working. And Barnes is into second on the fielder's choice play now for Dominguez. Dominguez is 2 for 2. He's pulled both of his hits through the left side. 16,541 the attendance tonight. Matt takes ball one. Matt hit the second pitch for a single in the third inning. He jumped all over the first pitch in the fifth for his single. That led to the 2-run frame. Now trying for a big 2-out delivery after the Astros have lost the lead. Cole Porter has a right-hander warming up in his pen. And it's on the edge, and it's a strike to make it 1-1. Jose Cisnero. He's not been pitching too often lately. Well, nobody pitched Monday through Thursday nights. But he hadn't been used a whole lot on the road trip prior to that anyway.
He's been a bit of a lost man out there.
One and two to Dominguez. King Felix, that'll be a treat tomorrow, and Jordan Lyles. Jordan put together some outstanding games here. It's a matchup at 110. King Felix, a 4-time All-Star. Tremendous year again last year. Cy Young winner in 2010. Fly ball right field. Coming over toward the corner, Jason Bay. And Bay into foul territory. It eludes him as he runs out of range.
Pretty nice effort here by Jason Bay. Not known as a great defensive player. The Gator arm showed up just as he was about to get to the wall.
Had some good years in Pittsburgh a few years ago.
Well, he had some big offensive years, is right.
And they used to play him in left field, which was the big outfield at PNC Park. But age does take its toll, doesn't it?
Seems to catch up at some point for everybody. Disregard Raul Ibanez.
Jason's only 34. There goes Barnes for third, and it's foul back. So with 2 outs, he took off on a 1-2 pitch. What that would do, and it wouldn't be necessarily with thoughts of stealing third base, but it would allow him to score on a little dribbling single on the infield that maybe wasn't handled properly. He might be able to get home on that because he had gotten a head start. The Mariners will probably keep an eye on him this time. Even though a pitcher really doesn't want to take too much of his concentration away from the hitter in a situation like this. Iwakuma is looking back. And he strikes out Dominguez. That's number 6 for him. No runs a hit and a man left. After 6, it's tied at 2.
at 2 as we move to the 7th. Hey, come out to Minute Maid on August 9th for the next big and bright Friday night against the Texas Rangers at 7:10. And stay after the game for a spectacular fireworks show courtesy of Marathon Oil Corporation. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com to get those tickets. Fireworks, Friday Night Fireworks, one of the most popular things the organization does. Had another great fireworks show after last night's game after Brandon Barnes supplied a little fireworks of his own, guys.
You bet he did. Now it's a 2-2 game. Thanks, Bard. We go to the 7th inning. Erik Bedard's thrown 101 pitches. Number 102's in the dirt to Kyle Seager, and it's ball 1. Seager's 0 for 2. Bedard threw 28 pitches in the 6th inning. And that's what really ramped up that pitch count to 102 right now. So he's close to a season high, which is 109. And Cisnero's been warming up in the bullpen for quite a while now. That's a strike. That makes it 1-1. Both the runs scored in the 6th inning unearned because of the 2 pass balls by Jason Castro. So for Erik Bedard, who was perfect through the first 4, he's walked 4, he struck out 10, and he's allowed 2 unearned runs on no hits. That's flick foul, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Let's get the attendance right this time. 25,733.
I was going to say, this is the largest 16,000 looking crowd I've ever seen.
Well, I misinterpreted a note. Popped up. Add Dominguez underneath. That the note Trey Wilkinson gave me, the 16541, that was on the rundown play. That wasn't the attendance.
So you're telling me that rundown didn't go 2-5?
No, 733. Okay. That would be weird. That would be quite a rundown, wouldn't it?
Okay, well,
2-5,
I'm gonna have to work on my scorecard here.
Justin Smoke is 0 for 2 with 2 punch-outs. It looked like a better crowd than that, didn't it? That one sails way past Castro for ball 1.
If you're trying to keep away from allowing that first hit on the night, that pitch is going to be successful most of the time.
Erik Bedard's low hit complete game was a 2-hitter at Texas, July 7th of 07. 7-7-07. Two balls, no strikes. One of 7's his favorite number. It was that night.
Now, you're not getting into that rundown scenario again, right?
Back off the numerology a little bit. Elmore, Pena, and Altuve due up in the bottom of the inning. Now it's 3 balls, no strikes, and because of the situation, I would imagine Bo Porter's going to watch Erik Bedard very carefully here in the 7th. Smoke takes a 4-pitch walk. Walk number 5. 4 walks in the last inning in the 3rd.
Astros Trivia is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Name the 7 members of the 400 Club. That's the 400 Home Run Club, still playing professionally. There's a guy that got to that club.
7 active members who have hit at least 400.
And we want to underline and put in bold and italics that word professionally.
Oh. Well, there's a pitching change right now. Erik Bedard coming out. Jose Cisnero's been warming up. Good round of applause for Erik. That was tough when he allowed the 2 unearned runs in the 6th inning on the 2 pass balls. As a result, he cannot be the winning pitcher. He leaves in a 2-2 game, and we'll return after this.
Astro Trivia brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. And of course, we were asking about 7 guys professionally with 400 or more home runs. Alex Rodriguez is leading that list. 647 bombs on his major league career. Who are the other names on that list? Manny Ramirez. Is he really professional? Albert Pujols, Jason Giambi, Adam Dunn, Paul Konerko, and David Ortiz. That is a pretty good list right there. David Ortiz came up with his 400th last year, and he is still slamming away.
Now Jose Cisnero comes in with a runner at first and 1 out. And Dustin Ackley is the pinch hitter for Jason Bay, who was 0 for 2. Eric Wedge has a left-handed batter up there. Ackley, who started last night in center field, takes a strike. He had been a second baseman, but Ackley now an outfielder at 207 has 1 homer, 13 runs batted in. He had a 2-run double and drew a couple of walks in last night's game. Ackley was a first-round pick of the Mariners. Fouls that one back, and it's 0-2. Ackley, 25 years old.
Brownie, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm just going to comment to a guy coming out 7th inning with a no-hitter on the line. Okay. And I don't know what the mindset of Erik Bedard was, whether he was saying, look, I'm gassed, I'm done, I have no clue. But if he wasn't doing that, boy, it's really hard for me to take that guy out.
There's a strikeout of the pinch hitter Ackley. Well, because you feel that the starting pitcher deserves that respect, right, from the manager.
Yeah, and I was trying to think, Brownie, who was the recent guy that did he complete the no-hitter, 148 pitches? There was a game recently, Tim Lincecum, yeah, 146, 148 pitches. And I think it was a tough decision for Bruce Bochy, no doubt, the skipper of the Giants. But I think when that guy gives himself a chance late in the ball game to pitch a no-hitter, unless he's saying I'm gassed, I'm done, you got to get me out of here. For me, the guy deserves the chance to stay out there, and that's just me.
That's a fair point, and circumstances certainly enter into it. I remember Darryl Kyle was pulled no-hitter after 6 innings very early in his career because of a pitch count, and this is not that situation. So yeah, we put that aside because that's not germane to what you're saying here. But Tim Lincecum, 148. It was quite an effort with all the strikeouts and walks he had. Hunter Pence made a brilliant catch in that game.
Yeah, that diving, sliding play. And you bring up the young pitcher scenario. There probably is that case where you might have to step in.
Zunino has a 2-1 count as Cisnero pitches for the first time since July 10th. But you're right. Bedard had been twirling a gem. He ran into some walk problems. There were the pass balls. Not of his own doing. We don't know what was said on the bench. That's probably the most important thing. Two balls, 2 strikes. Preston Gomez took a couple of pitchers out of no-hitters to pinch hit for them because their team was trailing. The runs had scored on errors or something like that.
Yeah, that was the old National League thing. That really didn't come down to taking them out because we're going to protect this arm because we figured out exactly what pitch counts mean and all that sort of thing. No, that came down to winning a ball game. And at some point, a manager has to make the decision what's most important.
Yeah, and you're bringing up the point we should make about that is they were taken out for pinch hitters, so it was a National League game, and this is not anywhere on that par. This move made strictly because Bo Porter wanted a different pitcher in the game.
We think. Again, did Erik Bedard have comments that said, Skip, you watch me close, I'm near done. That's the only way I can probably go in that direction.
Three, 2 outs, automatic go for Justin Smoke at first. And it's a little chop foul.
You know, and when you talk about Tim Lincecum, you're still talking about, despite the fact he has a couple of Cy Youngs already and has lost a lot of velocity here in recent years, you're still talking about a relatively young pitcher.
Yeah. But
that opportunity to pick up the no-no, it's extremely special.
I think pitch count rules a lot of managerial decisions these days. That's ball 4. It almost hit him. Now 2 men on and 2 outs for Saunders. Saunders struck out looking in the 3rd. He walked and scored in the 6th. Brad Miller's on deck. Saunders shows good defensive abilities in the outfield. And the Franklin Gutierrez injury has forced the Mariners to go in a different direction quite often in center field. Saunders can play center. That helps him to get some playing time. Gutierrez has spent an awful lot of time on the shelf the last 2.5, 3 years. Strike for Cisnero, who's been the rising star in the Astros bullpen. On that road trip, he pitched only once in St. Louis, July 10th. So this is only his 2nd appearance since the 4th of July. He's done some work in the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. And then sometimes with a young pitcher, especially a guy, as in Cisnero's case, who's been a starting pitcher, not a bad thought to give his arm a chance to regroup about midway through the season or a little past that point. Sometimes the arm doesn't bounce back in relief when it hasn't been used that way. Now it's 2-1. Cisnero had a stretch of 19 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. Erik Bedard now watching. Taken out after 6 1/3 no-hit innings tonight. High drive, Barnes backing in center field with a long run still continuing and going up on Towles Hill, and that's in for extra bases. Not only it's the first hit, but it drives in 2. And then a fall rounding second by Saunders keeps him from a triple, and Seattle has a 4-2 lead. So the first hit comes the Mariners' way with 2 outs in the 7th inning, and it's a 2-run triple by Saunders. A 2-run double by Saunders, rather.
That's a tough blow to take, and of course Erik Bedard still hanging in the dugout, watching every moment. But Saunders got a big piece of this baseball, and a very good center fielder simply couldn't get to it. Now that's something when a guy comes out of the bullpen to give up the first hit of the ball game.
Now Miller, and he looks at strike one. He's 0 for 2 with a walk, scored a run. Erik Bedard leaves after 6 1/3 innings, allows no hits, 3 runs, 1 earned, 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. Very unusual game. One ball and 1 strike. The Astros do not have a complete game. This is their 96th game of the year.
Sad thing on top of the Astros falling behind is that Bedard stands to lose this thing.
That is sad. From his standpoint, pitching so well. 2 balls, 1 strike. Crazy pitching line there, Ash.
Giving up that earned run here in this 7th inning, that 1-out walk coming around to score. Yeah, that's going to catch some attention with people looking. 6 1/3 no hits, and he lost, or he stands to lose at least at this point.
It's 2-2. Right before that pitch, Justin Maxwell moved about 3 steps deeper in right field.
That line for Bedard may make some people think, well, he must have been really wild. Didn't walk his first man until leadoff man in the 5th inning.
He had only 54 pitches through the first 4 innings. Wound up throwing 109, and that equals his high in a game this season.
And that 6th inning certainly chewed him up in that regard.
Miller strikes out. It's a 2-run 7th on 1 hit and a man left. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's 4-2 Seattle.
The Astros 4-2. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV. It's baseball everywhere. Brownie, back up to you.
Thank you, Bart. 7th inning stretch. Dustin Ackley stays in the game. He pinch hit for Jason Bay, and he'll be the center fielder. Michael Saunders has moved from center field to right field. That's the alignment in the outfield for Eric Wedge as the Astros come up in the 7th inning. And Jake Elmore leads it off against Iwakuma. Ball 1 to Elmore, who doubled and scored in the 5th inning when the Astros took a 2-0 lead. Struck out in the 3rd against Iwakuma. Iwakuma shooting for win number 9 of the year. There's a bunt. Barehanded, and the throw. A good play by Seager. 1 out.
Yeah, Seager had a hot shot get by him earlier in the ballgame as he took it to the side, but on this bunt he makes a heck of a play. Bare hands, comes up with it cleanly, and just in that one motion making a fine throw. That's a major league play.
One out, and now it's Carlos Pena. Pena's 0 for 2 with a walk. Jose Altuve's on deck. The Astros have 7 hits to the Mariners' 1 hit. Strike to Pena. 82 pitches for Iwakuma. Last year he was 9-5 for Seattle with a 3.16 ERA. This is his 2nd year in a Mariners uniform. That's a wicked pitch, and it's 0-2. Dive bomber.
Interesting note. 23-12 is the hit total favoring the Astros to this point in this 2-game series.
That is interesting.
3-game series when it's all said and done, but to this point.
Struck him out.
That splitter is downright devastating.
Remind you of Scotty.
Probably not thrown quite as hard. Scotty in his heyday was kind of a mid-90s fastball guy, maybe low mid-90s, and that splitter didn't lose a whole lot of velocity.
Altuve is 0 for 2 with a sac fly. Jason Castro's on deck. Fouled away for strike one. Seager was coming in tighter at third base before that pitch. That's the way they look on the infield right now for Altuve. Dodgers 1, Nationals 1. They're in the bottom of the 7th in Washington. Royals 6, Tigers 5. They're in the top of the 7th in Kansas City. Mike Moustakas hit his 7th. Backhanded. Here's the long throw by Miller, and it's accurate. We go to the 8th inning, and it's 4-2 Seattle. Between the Astros and the Mariners. Astros pregame live kicks things off at 12:30 p.m. only on Comcast Sports Net. And we will be checking our pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. See what's up for tomorrow. The former Cy Young Award winner Felix Hernandez. King Felix brings the best American League ERA into this game tomorrow, 2.53. He's 10-4. Has 140 strikeouts and 26 walks. Jordan Lyles is his mound opponent. Jordan with a 4-3 record of 4.02 ERA. Had a very good start at Seattle June 12th. 7 innings of 3-hit shutout ball. Walking 2, fanning 10, and didn't even get a decision. And now on that Houston bench, Jordan Lyles a few hours away from taking the mound. Hoping that Travis Blackley, pitcher number 3 in the game tonight for the Astros, can put up a 0 here in the 8th.
Travis has been dominant against the left-hand batters this year, just a 180 mark against him. Righties have enjoyed some success, 296. Overall, that ERA just under the 5 mark.
Nick Franklin is the leadoff man. He struck out twice and hit a sacrifice fly. That sac fly made it 1-0 as he hit the ball to center field. He looks at that one, and it's ball one. Jose Cisnero in 2/3 of an inning allowed 1 hit and 1 run. He had 1 walk. He struck out 2. Raul Ibanez on deck. Kendrys Morales due up third. Matt Dominguez. 1 out for Blackman. And it's Ibanez who struck out twice and walked tonight. Tenth Avenue North will be entertaining after this ball game. Members of the band threw out first pitches before the game. They were in uniform. Ibanez now, the lefty on lefty matchup, will be followed by Morales. And that's strike 1.
So which member of a band would typically have the best fastball?
Probably the drummer. What would you say?
I was going to say maybe the bass player.
Okay. That makes sense.
Burley and
yeah.
But it could certainly be led to lead guitarist.
1 ball, 1 strike. When are you forming your band, by the way?
Band has been slow in forming. Trying to get you to be the lead singer and just not having a lot of success there.
We wouldn't be getting any bookings, pal.
I plan on keeping it that way too.
We'd be getting calls from neighbors. Visits from the local gendarmes. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I have a feeling you would be a sneaky, sly, outstanding singer.
No, sir. When do bands practice? They always practice at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, make sure you get the neighborhood garage that can do the most damage audibly for the neighborhood.
Yeah. Put up some soundproofing in the garage. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, how long have you played the guitar?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I have dabbled for, I don't know, 25 years or so.
That's a pretty lengthy routine to be in.
Long enough to be really disappointing. And how long have you been a lead singer?
Oh, for 0 years. Struck him out, but there's a story for you. Well, go ahead.
Okay, we've got August 9th through the 12th. The Astros take on the Texas Rangers for the final time here at Minute Maid Park this season. The series features a big and bright Friday night on the 9th and a Texas Country Street Fest before the game on the 10th. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com for your tickets.
Kendrys Morales is the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. When I was a kid learning how to play the trumpet, I would practice in my bedroom with the window open on a summer night. I don't even know if we had air conditioning back then.
I bet you were a neighborhood favorite.
So then another guy in the neighborhood took up the trumpet, and he would practice at the same time. Our poor neighbors. We kept seeing that moving truck come down the street.
You guys work it out in 2-part harmony and stuff like that?
Not really. We were sort of trying to outblast each other at the time, and it was not pretty to the neighbors.
I'll bet you were effective.
Effectively wild, you might say. 2 balls, no strikes. At that early age, trying to learn an instrument which can be loud, that can be quite a challenge.
There's only one reason for that instrument at that age. That's noise.
We provided the neighborhood with wall-to-wall noise. Swing and a miss. That makes it 2-1.
Now imagine when you're playing the trumpet, it's a little hard to work on the singing aspect of things.
That's very difficult. Very difficult. But you know, you get these subtle hints when people hand you a mute.
and inform you to palm your hand over the end of it?
Yeah, try this.
Yeah. Do not release open end.
There's a line shot foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That was a rocket.
Yeah, I tried that trumpet thing too. I was no Doc Severinsen at the time.
He was tough, wasn't he? Doc Severinsen and Al Hirt.
There you go. Yeah. A couple of the greats.
And then Al Hirt would hook up with Pete Fountain on those Dixieland Band albums.
He of the clarinet.
Yeah, they were terrific together.
In fact, I even got a chance to see him down in New Orleans one time.
He was something else. I had all of his records.
To burn them at Comiskey?
No, sir. No, they were not to be burned. They were not to be touched. They were to be preserved forever. And I think one year in a parade, it might have been Mardi Gras, somebody ran up to Al Hirt. He was on a float and playing his trumpet, and somebody, this was horrible, just jammed that trumpet back into his face. I really think it was a very malicious move, and he was able to come back and play after that, but it was not pretty.
Not prescribed by your family dentist, I'm sure.
Definitely not. Swing and a miss. Morales strikes out. Blackley has a 1-2-3-8. The Astros hope to make some music in the bottom half, trailing 4-2. Seven innings, and he allowed 7 hits and 2 runs tonight. Iwakuma had 2 walks, and he struck out 7 in a fine performance. And he's in line for win number 9 unless the Astros can turn this game around. And lefty Charlie Furbush is warming up. Ash.
Furbush, that specialist lefty in this bullpen for Seattle. 2-4 on the year. He's allowed far less hits than innings pitched. Facing a lot of left-hand hitters will help in that regard. Lefties hitting all of 159 against him. The righties not enjoying a lot of success either. And 4 home runs allowed over 38 innings. Just about where he'd like to be.
He's made 5 appearances against the Astros this year. Jose Altuve had a 2-run homer off him in Seattle way back on April 9th. Other than that, he's pitched some scoreless ball in the other outings. Eric Wedge's bullpen very well stocked with lefty relievers. Lucas Litke, native Texan from Industry, is out there. He pitched at Rice. Bobby LaFramboise is a lefty who's in their bullpen. The man you're looking at here is number 3, Oliver Perez, lefty number 4. 4 southpaw relievers on the Seattle ball club. Jason Castro steps up. He's 1 for 3, an RBI infield hit in the 5th inning. And gets a slider. There's strike 1. Takuma put his club in an excellent position to win this game, but the Seattle bullpen has been undependable with 10 wins, 17 losses, and a 4.48 ERA. Also 12 blown saves. No balls, 2 strikes. Bush's last appearance was 6 days ago against the Angels with a scoreless inning. And the Mariners swept that 3-game series from the Halos.
Who's going to be that left-handed reliever that, along with Matt Thornton, gets traded before this deadline?
Oh, you know it'll be somebody. That's strike 3 call.
You mentioned the left-handed arms out in that Seattle pen. You wonder if they might get rated, at least in terms of one of these guys.
Well, it's a good point. They do seem to have a surplus. Alvin Perez's name has been thrown out there. He's a very experienced hand. The Mariners might want to get a little younger. Chris Carter doubled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Both teams are warming up relievers. It's Jose Veras for Houston. It's Yoervis Medina for Seattle. Carter swings at it, and it's 0-2 to Chris.
This isn't your typical maybe soft tossing lefty that just kind of survives by getting left-handed bats for many years. It's a pretty good arm here. 94 on that last running fastball.
1-2. Furbish, a 4th round choice by Detroit in the 07 draft. He's from Maine. Went to St. Joseph's College and LSU. Left-handed hitters hit 147 against him last year. 2-2 to Carter. Zach Greinke was shooting for his 100th career win, but he didn't get the run support to get that tonight for the Dodgers. And he left the game. It's tied 1-1 in the 8th inning. Carter's down on strikes. That's 2 in a row for Furbish. Red Wallace came off the bench and delivered a homer against the lefty reliever Alvin Perez last night.
Yeah, this was impressive coming against the left-hander. Red Wallace early on in the season really couldn't handle anybody, and now he's come back handling just about everybody, and you can see a good reason why. The way he's utilized the entire field. When he gets a fastball, he can drive it to left center, left field, center field very well. When he gets something off speed, as he got the curveball from the lefty last night, drove it out to right field, he can turn on it, and that's a good combination.
Broken bat looper. The shortstop comes in. Miller with the catch. We go to the 9th inning, and it's 4-2 Seattle.
4-2. The old friend Kevin Eschenfelder brings the heat with special guests and in-depth analysis on Sports Talk Live every night at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Brownie, back up to you.
Bart, how long have you and Kevin worked together?
Coming up on 11 years now.
Very good. Lengthy association, both two fine professionals. Kevin does a terrific job on that show. Jose Veras comes in now for the 9th inning. He needs some work. He's 0-4 with a 3.20 ERA, 18 saves and 21 opportunities. He's not pitched since before the break when he saved the 2-1 game at Tampa Bay, July 12th. He's converted each of his last 10 save opportunities, but the Astros, having lost 14 of 18, have not been able to give him a whole lot of opportunities recently. He's had a couple of saves in the month of July, and that's been it for Jose.
Yeah, when you've got a struggling club, that closer is going to have some tough times not getting chances to get out there and do what he is supposed to do. But Jose Veras, got to get your work in one way or another, and this is one of those nights.
Travis Blackley had a 1-2-3-8 with a couple of punch outs on Ibanez and Morales. The Astros pitchers have struck out 14 tonight. Kyle Seager leads it off. Strike one from Veras. Seager's 0 for 3. Justin Smoke is on deck, and Dustin Ackley's due up third in the inning. For the Astros in the home ninth, it's Maxwell, Barnes, and Dominguez set to bat. The closer for Seattle is Tom Wilhelmsen. He pitched last night. It's 1-1 to Ackley, to Seager rather. Seager has a 15-game hitting streak on the line. Seager coming in with a full head of steam with 4 homers and 8 runs batted in the previous 11 games. Has been stopped so far. This fly ball might be playable. Looks like it's going to be in the seats, and it is. 1-2 playable for that guy. Did he say his birthday?
I missed that. I was too busy watching a very active ball boy down the left field side.
Okay.
He was getting into it. I guess getting out of it is really what he was doing, but he did a nice job.
One of these ball boys, there was an article about him, came from the Astros Urban Youth Academy.
Yeah, I saw that story. Great story.
It really was. Foul back, still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Nice long hitting streak for Seager. Batting 5th in the order. Sometimes the at-bats aren't frequent enough for number 5 hitter to keep a streak going all that long. Certainly advantageous if talking about prolonging a hitting streak for a guy to hit at the top of the lineup, first or second. The additional at-bats there along the way. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And also here's a guy with some pop. It's in the air, and the center fielder Barnes heads in for it, but Elmore is out, and Elmore makes the catch. 1 out. Mark Appel and Carlos Correa played in the same game last night, and that is something of note. 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs allowed by Appel. He's had 4 minor league starts now, and they're now together for the Quad City River Bandits. Carlos Correa has hit .325 with 6 homers, 53 runs batted in. He was 2 for 5 with a homer and drove in 2 last night.
Now, the way I understand it, it's the first time ever back-to-back years #1 picks played together in the same game.
That's what we're reading, yes. Justin Smoke is 0 for 2 with a walk, and there's strike 1.
And by the way, how about those numbers you just mentioned for Carlos Correa? Still a teenager, and finding that he can play this game of professional baseball.
And play at a very high level. Some of the Astros top advisors, top staff members have been to see Carlos Correa. Very impressed by his progress. Kind of charting when he might be arriving on the major league scene, and that's popular, but still guesswork.
By the way, word coming in that Robbie Grossman has picked up 5 hits tonight. AAA.
Nice. Well, apparently Mark Krause witnessed a Brandon Barnes cycle at A-ball in 2010. They were on different teams in the Cal League, but Mark Krause tweeted something about having witnessed Brandon Barnes cycle 3 years ago in the minors.
So it's old hat is what you're saying for Brandon Barnes with the cycle last night.
Yeah. Swing and a miss by Smoke. 2 outs. 15th strikeout for Astros pitchers tonight. And with 2 outs, it's Dustin Ackley batting. Ackley struck out in the 7th. Yeah, in that game for Quad Cities, they won 6-3 over the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Have you heard that nickname before, the Tin Caps?
Heard many a great nickname for the minor league clubs. I had not heard that one.
No.
It's pretty cool.
That'll hang up, but will it be playable for Wallace? Wallace over in foul territory, going in for it, and Wallace made his best effort at getting there, but unable to make that catch.
Maybe a little late, a little delayed getting to that railing. Otherwise, Brett might come up with that play. You notice he kind of sets himself just beforehand there and then takes a couple more steps toward the railing. Not about here. I think he thought he had a play and then had to continue.
Yep.
Yeah, what you'd love to do is get yourself over to the railing and then back away to the field side if need be.
You had to go a long way up that right field line. That's a ball to Ackley, and that makes it 1-1 to Dustin Ackley. So yeah, that's what the minor league report says, that with Appel and Correa playing together in that game for Quad Cities, that's the first time it's happened in minor league baseball that 2 consecutive #1 overall picks have been on the field for the same team. And they drew 7,400.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that was for Mark Appel.
Yeah,
getting a chance to see this year's #1. Minor league baseball can be a lot of fun.
Sure can.
You just might catch a goofy bat race.
Is that your favorite promotion?
It's my favorite thing not in life, but
well, you and Jeff Blum seem to enjoy talking about it. It's a sharp ground ball to Wallace, and he takes it to the bag for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and it's 4-2 Seattle. Southwest.com. And by Acura. Meet the extremely new 2014 MDX at Acura.com/MDX. The Mariners lead at 4-2. They won 4 in a row. They won last night's game 10-7, and in that game, Tom Wilhelmsen came in to get the final 4 outs. He was needed in the 8th inning when Oliver Perez was struggling, and he picked up save number 20 of the year. Now the question being, did that take a whole lot out of him for tonight? He's 20 for 25 in saves. He had the All-Star break, so probably not a big deal, Ash.
One of those big arm guys in that bullpen for Seattle. And the opposition hitters combined hitting just 189. Right-handers 117. That is pure filth against the right-handed batters. Surprised to see that the strikeouts aren't a bit higher when you see some of those other numbers.
Justin Maxwell will be first up. He has a walk and a double tonight. He's 1 for 2. The Astros have 7 hits. The Mariners have 1 hit. But Seattle leads it 4-2. Erik Bedard started the game. Went 6 1/3 innings of no-hit ball, was taken out. Breaking ball, ball 1. And Seattle had scored a couple of unearned runs with 2 pass balls figuring in that tally in the 6th inning, and then it was a 2-2 game. Bedard had walked a man with 1 out in the 7th. There's a drive toward right center field, and Saunders cuts over and spears it. Michael Saunders on the run, took a hit away from Maxwell.
That was all out. No dive involved, but Saunders long-legged and on the move, the best he had. And you can see the full stretch out to be able to come up with this one.
Used every inch of that big outfielder's glove. It's well done by Saunders, who started the game in center field and then moved to right when Jason Bay left for the pinch hitter Ackley. Now Brandon Barnes, he's 1 for 3. Bouncer back to Wilhelmsen. 2 outs. As we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And the Astros got 2 runs in the 5th inning. Had a leadoff single from Matt Dominguez, and Elmore doubled by the diving Seager. Set it up, 2nd and 3rd. Altuve with a sac fly made it 1-0 Houston. And Castro with an RBI infield hit made it 2-0 Houston. But the Astros overall 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight, and it's Matt Dominguez batting. He's 2 for 3. There's ball 1. Missed opportunities for the Astros include that 3rd inning. They had runners at 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Iwakuma struck out Elmore, struck out Pena, got Altuve on a liner back to him. He knocked it down and threw out the batter. Seattle tied it with 2 in the 6th, went ahead with 2 in the 7th.
Stay tuned for Postgame Live, presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history.
Strike makes it 2-1. Nelson, 29 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. He was drafted by Milwaukee in 2002 in the 7th round. Became a closer last year, had 29 saves. It's 3-1. Wilhelmsen was out of organized baseball from 2004 through 2008. What a comeback story. He is 6'6". Strike makes it 3-2 now to Dominguez, with Elmore not on deck. It's Mark Krause. Dominguez takes a walk. With 2 outs, he's on. And the pinch hitter for Elmore will be the lefty hitting Krause. Elmore was 1 for 3 tonight. Krause at 188 has 32 major league at bats with 6 hits, one of them a homer. He has 4 runs batted in. He's gone 2 for 7 as a pinch hitter.
Went to straightaway center field in Arlington against the Rangers for that lone home run.
That's impressive. He's been the type of hitter in the minor leagues who will work counts. Pretty patient, waiting for his pitch. He's had a chance to start 5 games in left field, 1 in right and 2 at DH for the Astros. He's hitting .277 for Oklahoma City. And there's strike 1 to Krause. Krause had a .393 on base percentage for the Red Hawks with 9 homers and 213 at bats for them. From Ohio University. He came in the Chris Johnson deal from Arizona. That's out into left center field. Ackley coming for it. Ackley makes the play. And the Mariners have won the first 2 of this series and 5 straight overall. Wilhelmsen nailing it down for Iwakuma, who's a 9-game winner. Save number 21 for Wilhelmsen. The Astros 9th. No runs, no hits, and a man left. Final score, Mariners 4, Astros 2.